welcome to the Jam Yearbook. I'm Jim.
And I'm Matt. We're closing in on Thanksgiving, so we thought it'd be a good time to take a look at songs that are just too long. Too long to hold our attention. Fatigue can play a factor, and songs don't hold the same magic over time. And some are just the right length, but somehow are still too long.
I'm certain some of our podcasts have worn out their welcome, and hopefully this is not going to be one of them.
We managed to keep talking till the end, though. Even if no one's listened, we keep talking and drinking.
We do. In certain bands or genres, lengthy songs are definitely going to be expected. So, Matt, straight away, we are not going to poke fun at jam bands like the Dead or Fish. I'm sorry. And we're going to try to steer clear of prog.
Why can't we poke fun at jam bands? Prog, metal. They're the kings of long songs.
It is low-hanging fruit. It's too easy.
Yeah. That doesn't seem fair, but that's like half my material. Now I'm just going to have to reload.
Because I think for sensible reasons, we need to focus on what's more socially popular. Classic rock's probably going to rule a lot of this episode. In fact, I know it looking at the notes. You're not going to get a lot lyrically to relate from metal, prog, or jam bands.
Yeah, that's safe to say. I know you and I, we personally will not. Others, your mileage may vary, but those three right there, long songs, they are to be expected. They even go all in on the song titles too, or they'll make that 10-minute plus song, but they'll split it into multiple acts. That's just a little pretentious, at least on my end. You take like Kansas's magnum opus, it's a little over 8 minutes or under, it's somewhere around that, but they divide 8 minutes into 6 parts. If all you got's an idea, then just keep hashing those out till you get songs. But they name them like Father Padilla Meets the Perfect Gnat or Release the Beavers. Prog is just edgy jam with ADHD.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot going on in prog.
Count to 4, count to 12, count to 6, 4, 8.
But those are all even numbers. That's the easy part.
Oh, true. Yeah. 7, 5.
Yeah. Some people hear those sounds speaking to them the way that you and I do hear lyrics. So there's something definitely going on with the way that people hear jam and prog and even jazz. I think that kind of music is kind of like electric jazz anyways. It's a little bit of wanking on each instrument.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. And it's actually, I do have a lot of respect for prog, except for when it makes me feel dumb. But some people can listen to prog like they're looking into the Matrix, and they can just see the blonde. They can see the red door. Where I'm just like, this is gobbledygook. What is going on? Where does Pink Floyd sit in this conversation?
Oh, that's a good question. I think they actually have to sit in their own little special place that we just don't try to touch.
No, you're right. It seems unfair to add Pink Floyd because personally, I get a lot of enjoyment out of them. And I think part of this episode is about being able to poke fun at certain things. And I don't really have a lot to poke fun at Pink Floyd about. And there is something to be said about creating an atmosphere. And so I can't lump them in with the other three or those three genres. Pink Floyd doesn't even belong in prog, even though they do get lumped in there. Floyd's their own thing.
Yeah, they are. And really, drugs aside, let's focus on the songs within a 5 to 10 minute time frame, give or take.
Yeah, because outside that 3 to 4 minute mark, that's kind of like the cutoff.
Because depending upon how many times you repeat the same thing over and over again at the end, I might be the one cutting the song off. I know a lot of people who just skip to the next song when the singing stops. Oh, singing's done. Yeah, I'm not going to listen to all that music at the end.
Sometimes it's like now in today's, squirrel culture, it's like halfway through the song. Oh, what's next?
Yeah.
Hey, what's next?
So let's focus on the stuff that's kind of made the radio. As this episode will come out, after Thanksgiving, there's one song that is always played across the United States each year on Thanksgiving Day, and that's Alice's Restaurant by Arlo Guthrie. We'll categorize this, I think, as a story song. I'm not bothered by this song. It's long, but it reminds me of being a kid and The Wizard of Oz coming on network TV once a year. Oh, hey, The Wizard of Oz is on. But making it a Thanksgiving tradition has given Alice's Restaurant a bit more of a heartwarming feel to it.
And looking at the runtime, 18 minutes may turn people off from listening if they've never heard it before, but it is an entertaining story. And a lot of it isn't how he performs it. It's not just singing rote, he kind of playfully delivers it to the audience. it doesn't feel like you could listen to that song only 3 times in the span you could listen to one episode of the Jam Your Heart
No.
Out. When you put it in just, the parameters like that. Arlo Guthrie, he hooks you in with this absolutely absurd story about getting arrested for littering a ton of garbage. I don't know if that's really qualified as littering, but he eventually reaches the destination of Alice's Restaurant being a song about protesting war in the draft.
Yeah. And it's great for cooking. It's a good song to put on while you're getting stuff ready in the kitchen on Thanksgiving
Yep.
Day.
Do you look at it like a challenge? I got to get these potatoes done before the end of the song.
I think it's more I'm just getting started song. I start with Alice's Restaurant as I'm getting things together into the kitchen, into the oven.
Yeah.
You put that on, and you kind of the first 20 minutes of the next 4 hours of your day
Yeah. It's your
is gone.
preamble.
Yeah.
It's your preamble to Flight of the Bumblebee.
And it's before the Christmas music arrives. So that's also a bonus.
Oh, I don't know if it's before, is it? I hear it on the radio already
On
here.
Thanksgiving Day when you're by yourself at home.
Sons of bitches and their Christmas music.
Okay, another song that's very Americana, kind of American Pie. Is this a story song?
It's a lot of stories. He's reflecting on important moments that happened during his life. Obviously, the deaths of Richie Valens, Buddy Holly, the Big Bopper, though that is the story that gets the spotlight when people talk about the song. When he was 13, he had a job delivering newspapers, and he found out about the crash when he looked at the paper he was delivering that day. Being a teenager, I'm sure those deaths meant a lot to him, and it brings meaning to the lyrics. February made me shiver with every paper I deliver. I'm sure every time he looked at that, there was that kind of sense of disbelief that, oh my God, these 3 people are gone now. Because Buddy Holly alone had a huge influence on a lot of people.
Yeah.
But the song leans into using that phrase, the day the music died. It's sort of a euphemism for how these moments were stripping away the facade of the 50s into a more socially conscious decade. Touching on the Beatles and John Lennon in particular, reading about Marx, JFK's assassination, the Altamont Rolling Stone show, the Manson family.
I remember making it a mission to learn every lyric to this song when I was 11 or 12 years old. The chorus comes around 7 times in the song. So
Oh,
it's
lucky 7.
probably, one of the easiest sing-along songs on the list where we've got of music today.
Yeah, that was a pretty bold mission for an 11 to 12-year-old because he hits on a lot of subjects, but he does it poetically. He just, says a line or two and you understand what he's talking about. It's
Mhm.
not like Billy Joel's We Didn't Start the Fire, where he gives a history lesson by just name dropping. American Pie centers on music.
It was a music lesson for me. And God help anybody that I ran into when I was obsessed with it, because I would try to explain the song verse by verse afterwards. The king, the jester sang for the king and queen. That's Bob
Mhm.
Dylan. And the coat he
Yeah,
borrowed.
taking the crown from
Yeah,
Elvis.
exactly. You had the Doors in there. There's more than what you already mentioned. It was just an incredible piece of music history from the 60s. So right now here on the show, I want to give my sincerest apology to everyone that I tortured having to explain that all to, because I just did that kind of again right now. I can't help it. But American Pie just makes the music nerd in me come out.
I've known friends who have played it in bands and they've had no problem paring it down. There's so much there.
Mhm.
As long as you hit the lyrics and the high notes that people are gonna expect and want, and the chorus 3 or 4 times at the end of the night when the drinks are kicking in, everyone's happy.
Everyone is. And it's such a well-known song that even Madonna was able to make like a 4 to 5 minute version of it and get a number 1 hit out of it.
I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
it
Yeah.
was awful. So, speaking of stuff that's on the radio, I don't notice songs really being that long anymore. Even apart from radio songs, the albums that I'm buying today, they don't seem to have 8-minute songs on them anymore. Is this because the artists want to make sure everything can be available for commercial radio?
Yeah, I think so. When it comes to the pop world or anything radio friendly, anything more than that, like what we were saying at the beginning of the show, 3 to 4 minutes, it's gonna get edited for length. Radio or streaming, that's got to be the goal. It's so easy for listeners to control what they're listening to that they have to have their attention held. As you know, from sifting through the years from the 70s until now,
Yep.
it's impossible to take in everything that's out there, especially now. The wealth of music that gets released on a monthly basis now
Yeah.
is you can't compare it. But when you're busy cooking, you're mowing the lawn, you don't want to keep skipping around. You want to go to a known commodity.
And especially when only a handful of people are writing the songs we're hearing on the radio today.
Oh, here we go. Back to Max Martin, right? Found a new way to rant about what he's done.
Yeah.
Him and his apostles, they have made music a science.
Don't stop, Matt. Don't say his name 3 times. This is supposed to be a happy show today. We're not going to go back to
Okay.
Max Martin.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So reel myself back into my previous point. Even if someone makes an opus, which I'll agree, it's pretty rare now, they're going to get edited for radio. It's got to fit that tight parameter for mass media.
Mhm.
So what about Taylor Swift though? 10 minutes of All Too Well. Is that too much of a good thing?
I don't really have a problem with this song. I actually was going to save this for the end of the show because I'm afraid people are going to shut it off after I say that. For me, it was lyrically expressive in a way that modern artists don't really expose themselves. And I think I'm going to dare to say this. It was kind of modern day Springsteen-esque.
Whoa. I'm just going to let that comment hang in the air there so people can take that in, because that is bold, but she has reached rarefied air. People may not realize it because it's happening right now,
Mhm.
but in 20 years, 30 years, people are going to look back on it and go, holy shit. We've said a lot of positive things about Taylor Swift, but All Too Well, for me, it's a bit indulgent. It would be one thing if she broke out of that tired chord progression through the whole song. There's not really a big change until around the 7-minute mark, where it varies from eighth notes to whole notes. And then it's a minute and a half of not knowing how to end the song. If you're going to have a 10-minute song, you have to vary it. You can't just go verse, chorus, verse, all too well. Hey, here's another verse. All too well. Here's another verse. You gotta put some more meat on that bone.
But with a 10-minute song, are you really going to put a bridge in? Because then do you need to put the bridge in twice? I mean, where would that fit in to that song?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. So
Why not?
Matt needs a bridge.
Well, you know, that's where being an artist comes in,
I understand.
right?
Yeah.
You know, if you want to, and I understand, you know, pop, that's not where you're going to, you know, you're kind of edging into prog territory. If you're going to go, hey, let's put a bridge in here. Oh, let's come back, but let's revisit the bridge. Oh, okay. You know, I'll give you that. She is a pop artist.
She is. And I think you're right about her being kind of an easy target right now, because we're getting all kinds of overkill from the media. And as soon as that starts to happen, there are people out there that are always going to love her and hate her. And then there are the people that are absolutely sick of her and never want to hear from her again and can't say anything nice about her. But she is having an Elvis, Beatles, Prince, Nirvana moment, whether people like that or not.
No doubt.
And
No doubt.
when we are 80 years old, a 25-year-old alive today will be writing about how amazingly she influenced lives in music.
Very correct, Jim. Very correct. And I applaud her for taking control of her music, because that is going to suit her all too well, I guess. You know, she wrote the music, not some asshole buying publishing rights so he can sell them to commercials.
Yep.
I mean, that's just gross. I've seen interview clips of her saying this was her favorite song, and her fans agreed. They kind of met in the middle there. Good lyrics in the song, no doubt, but she could have gotten them in a couple more songs. That's all I'm saying, because those are good lyrics. You could have got 3-4 songs out of that. After 10 minutes, you're in danger of losing my sympathy when you're going on that emotional journey. Sorry, Jim. I was going to get a rant in one way or another.
Would it be a jam show otherwise? All right, let's shift gears here. Let's talk about songs that have really long intros. It's not new, but The Temptations, Papa Was a Rolling Stone, is nearly 12 minutes long. It's a great song, but that version's not going to be on the air anywhere.
Not unless a DJ is walking out.
It takes
that intro takes forever.
It takes forever. It's one of those songs that kind of has false starts. You think, I'm going to start singing now, and then you don't. And sometimes that's cool, but sometimes I've hit skip because I'm tired of sitting through that intro. I do like the strings. It's really well composed.
And that's the problem with these long intro songs. sometimes you'll hit skip instead of just fast forwarding. I love that song, but I'm not sitting through that intro anymore. Just get to the good stuff. Save it for live shows. In defense of Taylor, here we are. This is a legendary song, right? There's not a lot of variation in this one either.
No.
It's like the drum solo at a concert. It's just a piss break.
It seems like the 60s and 70s probably had the most amount of these popular long songs. I said we would come back to these more at the start of the show. And at one point for classic rock music, it must have felt like a rite of passage to compose an 8-minute long song. Like you just had to have that big long song on your album.
Oh yeah, Nights in White Satin kind of comes to mind there. That's one song I can't take in anymore.
Yeah, strings galore.
It loses me there. And is that a flute solo that's going on? The orchestration is kind of recorded really mid, and it's hard to kind of tell what instruments are coming in and out. I don't hate flutes and music. It can work, but that whole section transports me to the Shire and I'm dancing with hobbits. Nights in White Satin, it's on the border. It's only it's a shade over 4 minutes, right? It's not gross, but it's one of those songs that feels much longer, and it's that middle part.
Wait. No. It's only 4 minutes. I don't think you're right there. Take a look. Look that up.
Okay, I'm looking it up.
feel like I could grow Gandalf's beard listening to that song.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I am wrong. I just fact checked myself. Again, it's a radio edit. It's around 4 minutes. That's where I get mixed up with these radio edits, album versions. The album version is much longer, and it's just more time in the Shire, I guess. But the same with Take It to the Limit by the Eagles. It's only 4 minutes long, but it takes an eternity. Lion Eyes, the album version is 6 minutes. That's too much.
I'm going to add Hotel California as a prime example of how soft harmonizing guitar solos can hypnotize someone who has consumed too many Quaaludes.
I still say most people hit an Eagles stage in their life. The shine's off that apple for me, though. And I know it is for you. I don't even know if there was ever a shine. A few drinks, though, you got to admit. Well, I'll admit, I'll harmonize the shit out of Lion Eyes.
Oh, yeah.
And Hotel California, that's going to get a big air guitar solo for me. But back to long intro songs. I got us a little off track. I wonder how many people regret getting up for karaoke with a song like Hotel California. Stand there and look like a jackass for the first minute.
Well, I've got firsthand experience of having done this. So, yeah. And keep in mind the guitar solo at the end. And the audience still kind of wants to hear that, even at karaoke. People are sitting there drinking, having a good time, want to hear that music.
Yeah, don't cut it off. Yeah.
And you're just standing there like, am I supposed to exit stage left during this now?
Yeah. No, you're supposed to windmill the microphone on the cable.
Oh boy, yeah. That'll get you kicked right out of karaoke night.
And what about The Who? It's not a group you would associate long songs with, but won't get fooled again. Have you ever realized how long that song is? It's 8 minutes. In defense, the intro is long, but it doesn't feel unnecessary.
Since you asked, I never noticed how long this song actually was until you made a list of songs for us for the show. It's one of those songs I think that breaks everything up in just the right way so that it doesn't feel like it's 8 minutes long. But you need all that time for those drum fills, dude.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah. I don't hate it. I don't hate this song at all. It wouldn't be the same without all those fills. Keith Moon is the master. I'll give The Who a respectful pass, but 8 minutes. Yeah, that you're pushing it. It's no Inagata Davida. That damn song's a whole concert. Inagata Davida. You got a bass solo, a drum solo. You got it all.
You do. I love the version that's on The Simpsons when they're in church and they're singing in the Garden of Eden. Bart replaces all the sheet music to Inagata Davida.
Yeah.
Getting through Inagata Davida used to be a rite of passage in my old apartment. I've talked about people having to sit through songs.
Oh my God, if you leave, you just can't hang.
No. And Matt, we're going to move on to your favorite guilty pleasure of long songs. The man whose name is synonymous with rock opera from the 70s.
Oh, you sons of a bitch. You're talking about Meatloaf.
Oh, you're damn right I am.
I'm gonna have to reach to the camera and slap the word favorite out of your mouth.
And Bat Out of Hell.
Yeah.
If you need a musical, he is the Andrew Lloyd Webber of rock and roll. But actually, he's not. Andrew Lloyd Webber wrote the music. I think he gets more credit than he deserves. He's a brilliant performer for some people, and they love his voice and his energy. And I'm not going to deny that from them. But he didn't write any of this. It's not his music. That can be said for a lot of great feature vocalists. But I think he gets praised for being the complete package when really, I'm going to get a lot of hate mail for this.
Oh.
He's the horse and pony show. He's just the entertainment.
Yeah, Diamond Meatloaf, right? And don't forget Paradise by the Dashboard Lights. And I'll add 2 out of 3 ain't bad as well. I remember putting that song on probably in the last 6 months, because I put it on my own personal playlist and it came on. I'm like, oh, great. I'm going to belt this song out. Okay. No, stop. I couldn't take it anymore. Every song on that album's too damn long. It does fit in with that musical feel.
Mhm.
So we all know my challenges with that. It don't forget, I do anything for love, but I won't do that. Even the song title's long. What is it with this guy?
The single edit of that song is already over 5 minutes long.
Oh, it's too
I think
much
it's 3 minutes of the album version that you have before you even hear him sing. So,
yes.
yeah, Meatloaf is about indulgence.
Yeah, he just puts too much gravy on his songs. That's all.
Yeah. And then we can add some of the biggest classics that are going to pop up on this list now. 2 songs I'm certain that people thought of straight away at the start of the show that they're waiting to hear from us about.
Freebird. I know you're talking about Freebird, right?
You're damn
I mean,
right.
that is the
Yep.
song that comes to mind.
Yep.
Here are some message board quotes that sum up my feelings and say it much more efficiently than I ever could. Clearing my throat here. Freebird does wear out its welcome, as do 90% of songs that employ the faux poignant outro guitar solo. In other words, stop teasing, just send the goddamn song. But continuing on, I really, really, really wish Freebird didn't exist. Its stubborn refusal to end has certainly subtracted happiness from my life on many occasions.
Those people could have just turned it off. They didn't have to, listen. Maybe they were stuck in a place where they kept playing, but they could have tuned it out. Freebird.
That, and I will still stand by that some of these long songs and your annoyance with them is directly proportional to how drunk or high you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Freebird's a split personality for me. It's a great song when I'm drinking. It's a bad song when I'm sober.
Yep.
It's amazing to think that they toured with that song for almost a year without that guitar solo ending. The audience hated it, but Ronnie Van Zant insisted on performing it. And then they just added the guitar solo at the end as a jam so Ronnie could take a breather. And somehow that's what they brought to the studio and recorded, and it became legendary. I still tell people it's not my jam with some side eye, because at least once a year you can catch me in an air guitar performance in my living room after a couple of beers.
Yeah, it's all about headspace, right?
It is.
Late at night, drunk, high, whatever,
Yeah.
and you're in your own feels, and you're like, fucking hey, man. I can imagine seeing this song pulled off live.
It must have been amazing at one point. There's also a lot of stuff going on in the studio. We've talked about in a previous show about some of the tricks that the guitar player was pulling off.
Yeah, the doubling of playing the guitar solo twice.
Yeah. There's stuff that really, if you look into the song, there is some cool stuff that was developed in the recording of it. But I think it fits into kind of overplayed, and that's why people are fatigued by it. But the next song is no exception to that list.
Stairway to Heaven.
That is it. Every time I never think I need to hear this song again, it comes back around and I find myself in awe of Bonham's drum sound. It's like I need to go hear that. I know some people lean on this song for Jimmy Page's guitar solo, but the payoff in the end for me is all about the drums. Both of these songs, Freebird and Stairway, have if you hang around long enough, we're going to try to make it worth your while approach.
Led Zeppelin's got a lot of long songs. When the Levee Breaks, most of side one of Led Zeppelin 1, you got a Whole Lot of Love, No Quarter, In My Time of Dying. That's a monster of a song. And Kashmir, it's cool. It's got a really great atmosphere. It's it can be maybe a little creepy, a little mysterious with that. But it just can't get out of its own way. It loses its charm after a while.
Yeah, I've never understood the love of Kashmir that other
Love.
people have. And good for them, but to me it's like, well,
What else? What are you gonna do?
yeah.
You gonna change it up here? And then the Beatles, Hey Jude.
Speaking about not changing it up.
Yeah, there's another song guilty of that death spiral of an ending. They don't know how to stop the song.
This is an example of a beautiful song that just kind of wears out the welcome at the end. Again, great for a sing along, but I'm going to hit the next button when that song starts to come to an end. If I'm on my own, I don't need to hear that chorus come around 12 times.
No, and I can imagine at the end when you're doing the na 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 na's whatever, and you're with a group of people, after like the fifth, maybe the third time through, people start dropping off
Yeah.
until there's that one last person continuing.
And that one person always has to do the Paul McCartney, Judy, Judy, Judy.
Yeah,
They've always got to take that part and be like, oh,
they're the one
look
harmonizing
at me.
in the Happy Birthday
yeah,
song.
they are. But look at me. I'm cool. I'll do the Rocky part that Paul sings right at the end.
All right, enough Beatles. Let's move on to Stevie Wonder. This may come as a shock. Isn't she lovely? I had to remove this song from my playlist. I could not take that baby. It was so loud in the mix. I had to like take my earbuds out and then delete it from my playlist.
I love Stevie. You know that. You know how much I really adore him.
Oh, yeah.
But this song
That's why it
actually
hurts.
never made a playlist of mine. Sometimes sugar is too sweet. And this was that kind of song for me.
Okay, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, Sweet Judy Blue Eyes. Are they trying to be a jam band with this song? I've always had trouble connecting with it. They could be singing about the meaning of life, but I could care less. I just stopped paying attention.
Yeah, unless this was playing in the background, I don't think I've ever intentionally put this song on. They were an amazing group, and there are songs of theirs that I probably put on playlists and I've listened to and enjoyed, but this was never a song for me.
Nope. I probably intentionally stopped the song as many times as I've intentionally started it.
I don't blame you.
Because I realized, no, that was a bad idea.
After that, we've got Derek and the Dominoes, Eric Clapton's band, and the song Layla. The funny thing for me, I know you have your big troubles with Clapton, and I do too, but I respect that. I have no problem with your critique. But to me, this song actually gets better at the end when it stops going through the riff. And Dwayne Allman comes in playing slide guitar, accompanied by a sweet piano line that just really works for me and takes it to a better place. And I also think I have a good memory attached to this because when I worked at the movie theater as a teenager in high school, this song was the end of Goodfellas. And when I would go in and clean up the popcorn and candy and everything that got spilled between the seats, this was not the worst song to have playing while you were doing that. And that outro, that's where I fell in love with
makes it worth it.
It does. It does.
I will agree. What about Peter Frampton? Do you feel like we do? There is no short version of the song, but the live one is all you get on the radio. I don't think anyone cared about the song until Frampton comes alive.
Also, when it comes to the live version, I read a rumor today that the audience cheering was taken off of the Woodstock album or the show.
I heard that too.
It was fun. And we have to take ourselves out of the days of music videos and visually seeing everything and putting on this album in the 1970s when all we got were 3 network channels and we never saw music on TV. And your only way was to sit at home and visualize it. And this album did a great job at making you feel like you were at the show. So I think that's why it was very successful. And I like how he does the whole talk box thing. And then his guitar solo at the end of the song, extending it even further, has this really nice, clean, pretty sound. Peter Frampton's one of those guys that is never going to be put up in the top 5 of anybody's favorite guitar players or best guitar players of all time list. But he's one of those guys that was just absolutely solid. And he had a moment with this.
Yeah, but Jim, the album cover and that hair.
Yeah, good point.
And they probably just did all of this music in the studio and put in all that crowd noise.
They probably did.
But I will say, it is a kick-ass song.
It is.
It is very well played. Another kick-ass song is Joe Walsh's Life's Been Good. Here's where I'm going to take a break from hating on long songs because I love Joe Walsh. Nothing but respect for him. The bridge breaks it up, and then it goes into a third verse to tie it back. But the ending is long, but it rocks.
Yeah. Again, with cool guitar effects. Joe Walsh was great with those. He was the odd man out in the Eagles for me, and I think for probably most people, even for the Eagles, but he made them better. And his great guitar work extended so many songs in the 70s and made each one of them just a little bit more polished and had more shine.
Well, yeah, and the Eagles sought him out. They were after rock credibility, and Joe Walsh gave that to them.
Oh, yeah. But let me ask you, Matt, long songs, Bob Dylan, Like a Rolling Stone.
Did you just give me a nickname, Matt Long Songs? Some might say any Dylan is too much.
Yeah. It's
yeah.
it's there's some Dylan that's still kind of good out there that I enjoy.
Yeah, there's a lot of Dylan that's still
There
good.
is, but I'm going to go back to the beginning when we talked about story songs, and I'll go to Hurricane by Dylan. I think that's off of Blood on the Tracks. It's over 8 minutes long, but it brilliantly tells the story of boxer Reuben Carter. It compiles acts of racism and profiling against Carter, which Dylan describes as leading to a false trial and conviction. I've always been a fan of this song.
Yeah, nobody's ever doubted his intelligence, his talent, his conviction. The dude is a poet.
He is.
Some people in the music industry, you can call me just musicians. He's an artist.
He is.
He truly is an artist. Yep. All right, Jim, how about the Police? Message in a Bottle and the Almonds Ramblin' Man. Some songs are under 5 minutes, but in desperate need of a trim.
The Police wrote some great songs, and many of them radio hits under that 5-minute mark we talk about. But how much Message in a Bottle is just Sting singing, sending out an SOS over and over again.
The Police, you're talented. You could have put a lot more into that song.
We like the Police, people, just so you know.
Love the Police. We got nothing but respect for the Police. But I think it's something that hit me one day. And as I've gotten older and I've heard the song a few hundred times, I'm like singing along. Jesus, how many times am I going to sing? Sending out an SOS. How many times? It's too many.
It is.
If you're asking yourself that question, it's too many.
Yep. So
let's skip along to The Doors.
Okay.
Light My Fire, Riders on the Storm, When the Music's Over, The End. Is it more acceptable because of that atmosphere that they create? It's considered, maybe more of an artsy piece.
Well, I'm a fan of The Doors, so straight away I'm going to just say yes. It's acceptable. The End might be a little too avant-garde for me. I was watching a TV show the other night, and it just a brand new show that came on. And the intro of the first episode was The End, the music to it. But of course, it didn't take 8 minutes for the intro to go through. It was just the nice parts of it. Riders on the Storm has a beautiful long intro that builds to the main groove of the song. I love how it just kind of starts with a rainstorm, and then the piano kind of builds and brings it in to the bass groove, and it just falls into a perfect pocket for the song. And it has this eeriness that can't be matched with any other song from that era.
No, and you can't discount the drugs.
No, you can't.
I'm sure the drugs in the studio lead to some of these choices being made. Oh, dude, let's I'm going to whisper this one, okay?
Oh, I'm sure Jim definitely had that idea. There's no doubt about it. And then moving ahead to the early 1990s, around the same time Meatloaf was coming out with his I Will Do Anything for Love, we had Guns N' Roses with November Rain. I'm not going to let you talk yet, Matt. Stop.
Thank you.
Your hand down. Nope. Great piano structure. Love the strings. Slash's guitar solo is absolutely epic. His tone is so fitting to the song. But that same fucking drum fill over and over again fills me. Boom, 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 boom. Again and again and again. Been through this a long time to try to feel the pain. Boom, 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 boom. When I sat down behind a drum set in the early 90s playing with bands, just kind of fiddling around, I think the only thing I really played was boom, 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 boom. It was like, why is this the fill between every single verse? It just doesn't work for me. And I know people love this song, and I do think it's a really good song to an extent. Don't Cry is a better song off that album if you
I
want to
would
listen
agree.
to.
Yes.
It is a better song. But yeah, so boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom.
Boom,
Over to you,
boom.
Matt.
Being Guns N' Roses challenged, I will withhold my opinion. Saying yes, agreeing with you. Slash's solo is awesome.
It is. It is.
His tone is so incredible on that one.
So breaking away from the start of the show, why are we letting metal bands get away with what they do? Because there are probably at least 10 Metallica songs that we could add to this list that are popular.
Yeah, Enter Sandman could have easily been on it.
Nothing else matters.
Yeah,
The long intros. You know?
oh, of course, nothing else matters. I think it falls in with prog, where there is a very high technical skill in metal. I mean, you listen to some of those guitar players and drummers, you can't help but go, holy shit, that person knows their way around the neck of the guitar. There's this dramatic flair. And sometimes that drama can come off as pretentious. So it can
Yeah,
turn, I know it can turn me off.
I can hear that. Okay, so what about songs that seem longer than they are? I was going through songs thinking about what was long and not. And one of the songs that I went to straight away was Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run, because I thought, well, this song will be on our list. But then it comes in at 4 minutes and 29 seconds.
Yeah, we've both come a long way in appreciating Springsteen. I'll stick up for us a little bit there, Jim, because doing this show we've had to cover all these years, I know we've put a few songs on our playlist. There was a long way to go, right? We were kind of even below basement level with Bruce Springsteen. Safe to say, we've both had trouble connecting with him in the past. Born to Run is a great song, but my fault with it and a lot of his music, it's that it's so bold. It's in your face, relentless, on the border of shouting all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to be yelled at, Bruce.
But you also have a song like My Sharona. This song had a revival in the early 90s because of the movie Reality Bites. I remember sitting one day baked out of my mind and wondering, how is this song not 5 or 6 minutes long? It has two guitar solos. It does almost reach the 5 minute mark when I kind of feel like it deserves to be a 3.5 minute song. How many times can you go do 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 do?
It's because you said it right there. You were baked out of your mind.
That's it.
1 hour later.
And then one of the songs that was a must learn first song for the generation that came before us was House of the Rising Sun, the Animals version at least. It has the same exact runtime as My Sharona, which is the same runtime as Born to Run. And I'll probably get in trouble saying this, and I do understand the historical value of this song. But even in my early days of playing guitar and music, I can remember thinking, is this thing ever going to end? The progression is cool the first time you learn it, but it revolves and revolves and revolves. And well, I could just keep going. I think you get my point.
I definitely do. And I have that same exact reaction to Eric Clapton's Cocaine. Part of this is being subjected to it and House of the Rising Sun. You know, when everyone is first learning how to play guitar and you decide to learn bass, well, you're going to get what you get. And it's a lot of doon, 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 boom. That's pretty damn boring. There's quite a few songs that are in a graveyard I can never, ever visit. Why, Jim? Why, oh, why is Cocaine such a slow song? I thought Coke was supposed to amp you up. Also, The Rising Sun and Cocaine, they both plod along. They don't offer anything for me to connect to. Surprisingly, My Sharona comes back around once in a while to me. It's usually when I put the record on and it's right there. So I'm like, oh yeah, it kind of just fits the frame of mind and the mood I'm in. It's rare, but it happens. But back to certain songs being accepted based on my blood alcohol saturation. Yeah, I don't know where Clapton's Cocaine. I don't think I've ever liked that song. Okay, but then there are songs that we would have no other way. We've concentrated. Yeah, we've done a lot of bitching and complaining.
Yeah, but these are songs that have to be long because they're perfect that way for us.
Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with songs being too long is that there's usually a lot of unnecessary shit going on. Everything in Bohemian Rhapsody is necessary. It zigs, it zags. It's complete genius.
It's a great song. There is no verse, chorus, verse, bridge, any part of that song in the way that it's composed and put together. And I think that's what keeps you there through the entire thing. If rock and roll were to ever become orchestra or opera in many ways, because you hear that in this song, this is
It's
it
Queen.
right there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Queen. It's not Meatloaf. It's Queen.
No, no. I mean, not Meatloaf. When I say no, I mean not Meatloaf, not Queen.
And Purple Rain. If you think this song is too long, I got two words for you, and the second word is you. That's all I'm going to say. A huge pet peeve of mine, and it's huge. I'll hear it on the radio, and I actually have to change the station because they always cut off the end of this song.
Mm-hmm.
I'll agree that last minute and a half, it's not needed, but cutting it off before the 7 minute mark is a crime. The last minute and a half is the afterglow from having heard one of the best songs and albums ever. But you stop the song before the 7 minute mark and you're an enemy. I have an arch nemesis now.
It deserves to be heard the whole way through. It's an amazing song. So as we close the show out, there are songs that you might not hear on the radio, but Matt and I have our own personal songs that we connect to that are long and they've never worn out their welcome. And three straight off the top of my head: Dire Straits, Tunnel of Love; Mother Love Bone, Chloe Dancer, Crown of Thorns; Weezer, Only in Dreams. What a great song.
Oh, it's slow and it plods along, but maybe because it ends an incredible album is why I love it. It's like saying goodbye, that long goodbye.
Yeah, it goes out and comes back in a great way. And I love that comeback feel. You think it's fading, and then it turns around on you and it rocks its hardest.
Yeah, and one of my favorites from Weezer is The Greatest Man That Ever Lived from the Red album. It goes in different places and it keeps you guessing.
Yeah. And then I've got the Smashing Pumpkins Soma, because some songs are meant for angsty teenagers to sing into their pillows when they've just been broken up with. Also, it completely shifts from soft tone to that really kind of classic Smashing Pumpkins distorted guitar sound off of Siamese Dream at exactly the halfway point. It does the right thing in the right moment.
Stevie Wonder, Living for the City. I cannot end without saying something to cancel out a negative Stevie Wonder comment. This is a great song.
I'm with you. I can't live without this album. I love the whole thing.
Yeah, it's awesome. And we've kind of strayed away from metal and prog and jam and all of that as much as we could, but I have to bring in Iron Maiden for Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. I was so proud of myself when I was a teenager and I taught myself how to play this on bass as a kid. I still love the bridge of that song. It's a masterpiece for me.
Yeah, you have to have that exception. We all do.
And Jim, I know
Yeah.
you love this song. Jane's Addictions, 3 Days.
At this moment, you should be with us, feeling like we do. We talked about the Doors earlier, and this invites listeners in the exact same way. The song shifts and changes musically just at the right time throughout, and Stephen Perkins' drums transition it flawlessly throughout the song. I love 3 Days. It's just a great song from the early 90s.
And 3 Days is one of those long songs that you get about 3/4 of the way through and you have to start it over. You just feel this, at least I do. I feel this compulsion.
I've done that.
There,
Yeah.
yeah, because I just don't want it to end. I just want to hear it over and over.
Mhm. Well, there we go. I hope you're still listening to us, people, after this long episode.
Hey everyone, we're done talking about long
We are.
songs.
Long songs are done.
There are much more songs out there that we could have gone over.
Yes. So now we are at that moment, Matt, where we are going to let people know what we're going to bring to the next episode, which is
Well, if everybody's been keeping track, we do these kind of subject shows, then we recap the previous month of music. So next time you will be listening to us knowing what Jim and I have been talking about, we will be complaining very largely about November.
Yeah, we will. There's not a lot of pretty that's going to go into the next show.
Oh, I'm getting warmed up, folks.
And I feel bad for the playlist. If you've been listening to it, so happy to have so many people listening. We will try to add the best of what we can. We will not put crap on that playlist.
Well, I don't know. Certain ones I might put on just because if I got to suffer, why can't somebody else?
That's true. That's true.
One man's trash may be another's treasure. I don't know.
Yes. Join our pain. Join our pain. So, Matt, I think it's my turn to close this show out.
Wrap it up. I'll take it.
The fabulous Thunder, Matt. We want to thank everybody for joining into listening to this episode about long songs on the Jam Yearbook today. We hope it was not too long of an episode for you. And we talked about songs that you're familiar with and that you love. And in many ways, after a couple of drinks, Matt and I love most of these songs too, regardless of
I'm
what
ready
we
to
said.
listen to all of them.
Yeah, let's go do that.
Have a few drinks, you drop your pretentiousness and judgmentality.
Exactly. We can stop being assholes once in a while and just enjoy what's on the radio.
It's kind of fun to be an asshole once in a while, though.
It is. Yeah, Matt has a lot of fun with that. But but it's always a joy and a pleasure to deliver this show to you. And Matt, it's been, a year and a half, a year and 3/4 now that we've been doing this. It's always great to come back and talk with you about music as we do each and every other week now.
I agree. I have a lot of fun with the conversations I've had with myself over the years.
Yeah. And we'll let the audience know we're kind of enjoying just talking about this stuff instead of coming up with a list of songs every single week.
Yeah.
We are.
But hey, if there's something that you do want us to talk about, reach out to us on Facebook or Twitter, and we'll peruse it and see what we can come up with.
Yeah, we will. Until we see you next time, Matt, say goodbye to the nice people out there.
Goodbye, nice people. We'll see you here next time for the Jam Yearbook.
Peace, love, and podcasts.